Hello, my name is Dr. Lane Robson. I'm a pediatrician and a pediatric kidney and bladder specialist. I've been working as a doctor helping families for almost 50 years. Yep, I'm that old. For the last 20 years, I've devoted my practice exclusively to helping families with children who have day and nighttime wetting. When you focus on such a small area for a long time, you'll learn a thing or two. I hope these videos help families that have children with day and nighttime wetting. Thank you. Hello, my name is Dr. Lane Robson. The question I'm going to answer today is, why does my child pee so often? The average early elementary age child pees 4 to 6 times per day. A typical routine would be when the child wakes, once or twice at school, when the child gets home after school, after supper, and before bed. If a child pees more frequently than 6 times a day, the child is peeing too often, or we say that the child has urinary frequency. From basic principles, there are 2 potential causes of peeing too often. One is a small bladder. The other is if the kidneys make too much pee. Of these 2, the small bladder is far and above the most common reason why a child pees too often. It's almost always a small bladder. For completeness' sake, I'll mention the 3 causes of a kidney making too much pee. The first is diabetes mellitus, sugar diabetes. The second is diabetes insipidus, water diabetes. And the third is a psychological disorder, compulsive water drinking. Sugar diabetes and water diabetes can be screened for with a simple urine test. Compulsive water drinking is usually evident with a careful history. As I said, when a child pees too often, the cause is almost invariably because the bladder is too small. So what does a small bladder really mean? Well, in terms of numbers, at about 2 years of age, which is a fairly common age for toilet training, a bladder holds about 175 mils or 6 ounces. The bladder increases by about 1 ounce per year of age, such that by age 6 in grade 1, the bladder holds almost 300 mils or 10 ounces. Now, in my practice, I regularly see bladders that are less than half of normal. If a child has a bladder that's half the normal size, that would mean that they would have to pee twice as often for a given fluid intake as a child with a normal sized bladder. I routinely see children with bladders that are a quarter the size of normal, which means these children would have to pee 4 times as often. And I also see children with bladders that are 1/10 of the average size, and these children would have to pee 10 times as often as a child with a normal sized bladder. From a practical perspective, most of the children with very small bladders don't tend to drink a lot during the day, and this helps them minimize the number of times that they have to pee or the number of times where they might wet their clothes. There are 2 common causes of a small bladder. At the top of the list is hard, solid, or pasty poop pressing in the bladder at the bottom of a pelvis. That is absolutely the most common reason why children pee too often. Another cause is bladder infection. Now, bladder infection is much more common in girls, and you should always check for bladder infection with a urine test. But compared to poop pressing in the bladder infection really isn't very common. So the answer to the question, why does my child pee too often? Almost always the child pees too often because the bladder is smaller than average, and the bladder is smaller than average because of poop pressure at the bottom of the pelvis. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. For further information in a readable format, please consider purchasing my book, How to Cure Bedwetting, packed with useful information to help families lead their child to dryness. Thank you. Have a great day.